Hello everybody and welcome back to the workshop and our series on our heat presses, where we do a deep dive and an unboxing onto all of the heat presses that we sell. Today we are going to be looking at the Auto Clam Plus presses. So obviously these are available in a 38 by 38 size pattern and a 40 by 50. They're a really solid press. So I have actually got a 38 by 38 here with me in the workshop. It's just on the floor down behind me. What we're going to do today is I'm going to take it out, we're going to unbox it together. I'm going to set it up right to the point where it's ready to use. We'll take you through all the functions and all the features of the press. So let's get down on the floor and we'll get the box open. Okay, just before we go down to the box, what I want to do is I'm just going to take you through a few bits that you're going to need to unbox and get your press set up. And this applies to most presses, to be honest. You might not need all of them, but it's always worth having them handy. So the first thing you're going to need is a box cutter or a Stanley blade. So that'll actually let us get into the box themselves, as the boxes are quite securely packaged. So you're going to need one of those. Other thing you're going to want is a screwdriver, Phillips head. What this will do is it's kind of, a lot of these presses are bolted to a wooden board at the bottom for shipping. So this is going to let us get that off there. And also a set of Allen keys, because a lot of the fittings and fixtures on these presses are held on by cap heads. So you'll need a set of Allen keys or hex keys that'll let you adjust those as well. Right, let's get to the floor. So when your box lands, this is what you're going to end up with. So you are going to need another person to help you move these about. They are a two-man lift. So I've had this one placed on the floor by my glamorous assistant Sam behind the camera. He's helped me get this into place so we can open it up. So first thing you're going to want to do is take the box cutter, and again, or your Stanley knife, and just gently slice through the tape. Also, make sure that your box is upright when you do this. There is nothing worse than opening a press upside down. So just take those off. Now when you first open it, you're going to be presented with a bit of plywood. All that does is it helps protect them in shipping. It keeps the box nice and rigid. So we're going to lift that off, like that, put that out of the way. And there is what you're going to be presented with. So your press will be in there. It will be packed in with foam. So it is easier to actually lift this out with the foam on. Because what it is we're going to do is we're going to lift it out, we're going to twist it, we're going to rest it over the box. That means we can get the bolts out from underneath that are holding this press to the ply board at the bottom of the box. It's just actually screwed to that ply board. So the first thing we're going to want to do is take out the foam section that's protecting this end. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room to get it out of the box. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to shout over to Sam, who is behind the camera and it's where he likes to stay, but I've told him he's going to come and give us a hand lifting these out, and we're just going to lift this out of the box so I can show you the bolts. So once we've lifted it out of the box, as you can see, what I've done is I've rested this bit of ply board across the box. That'll give us a little bit of wiggle room to get to these screws underneath. When you're lifting this out of the box, don't grab it by the handle because that is loose. It will be cable tied shut, but if you lift it by those, like here, it will snap those cable ties. So what you want to do is grab it either underneath here, underneath this part, yeah, and on the foam, there are small cutouts on the side foam that you can put your hand in and just squeeze in on the foam and lift it out that way. Okay, then we're going to take the plastic wrap off so we can see what we're working with. There we go. As you can see, when we lifted it out, it did snap the cable ties. These were holding this platen shut, okay? Because they are on hydraulic rams, so the auto open can open the platen. Same process for this will apply for this machine and the 40 by 50. There will also be a little test certificate in there. That's just from the manufacturer. When these were manufactured, they went through and tested the functions. There'll also be a small fuse in there as well, and there is a kettle lead to power the press. Okay, so you want to keep hold of that little fuse. Now the next thing we need to do, as you'll see if I try and move that, is that it's bolted to this plyboard plate. Now that it's on the box, it's quite easy to kind of work around it. So you want to put your hands underneath and feel for the screw head. So there's a screw head underneath there, which means there'll be one under there as well. They tend to be screwed in opposite corners. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wiggle that one around a bit more, so we've got a bit more access to the screws. There we go. Okay, this is where your screwdriver comes in place. It's a Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to want to go underneath and unscrew these bolts. Okay, so with these two screws taken out, the press is now free from the baseboard. So what we'll do is we'll cut to the bench. I'll get the press on the bench and we'll walk you through the features. But yeah, the other thing I would say at this point is keep hold of the box and the plyboard and the foam. It really helps if there's ever a warranty issue or anything like that, that you can package these back up and send them back well packed. It makes things a lot easier down the line. Alright guys, let's get on the bench and have a look at it. Hey everybody, just a quick one on this little piece of documentation that you're going to get in with your heat press. There's two QR codes on here. One will take you to the spec sheet for the press and the other will take you to the user manual. So if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the full user manual, which will cover everything we covered in the video. And there it is, out of the box on the bench. Like I said before, normally that would have been, there'll be two cable ties around there, and that just holds it shut. Snip those off, pair of scissors or your knife or whatever, and that will rise on its own. So this is controlled by a hydraulic ram at the bottom. So this press wants to stay open. That's how the auto open function works. So just to go over parts of your press, obviously you've got the handle here. This lump is an electromagnet which connects to this plate under here. Yeah. So basically when you close the press with the power on, that will sit like that, electromagnet engages and that holds the press shut. Okay? When the timer reaches 0, the electromagnet will disengage and the lid will raise up like that. Yep. Your pressure control is this black knob here. What I tend to advise is it's very hard to adjust when it's all the way up. And obviously if it's shut you can't adjust it. What you want to do is just hold your press about halfway so it's kind of free floating, and then turn your pressure adjustment like that. Yeah, as you can see that's turned it up. So clockwise turns the pressure up and counterclockwise turns the pressure down. There we go. Okay, other parts of the press are there's a cable that runs down here. I don't know whether you can see that. It comes out the back of the element there anyway. Just be aware that that's there. You won't need to touch that. It's just that controls the power to the element and the thermocoupler, which tells it how hot it is. On the bottom part of the press, you've got this your bottom platen, so that is on a sliding drawer, like so. So you've got the rails and the runners. That means you can get the platen of the press out of the way while you're working on it, and then you push it underneath to bring it under the heat platen. This is really handy. I mean, the amount of times over the years that I've caught my arm or whatever on a clamshell press when you're working underneath it. So to be able to get that out of the way, I'll move the whole press. It's quite hard to pull these drawers out from the backside. That gets you out of the way, so it's a lot safer to work with. On top of the base platen is this cotton sheet. What that does is it means you can have the Nomex foam that gives you nice cushioning when you're pressing into it, is held in place. So using that you can then thread stuff over the top of the platen, you can move stuff around without having to worry about lifting up the Nomex. Okay, and then obviously you've got your heat platen on the top. So this is a 38 by 38 platen. These are available in a 40 by 50 like I said earlier. The process for setting them up is exactly the same for both presses. We just used the 38 by 38 because it was easier to get it on the bench. So again, you've got a kettle lead there, that will come in the box, and that just plugs into, I'm going to get Sam to put a little box up in the top of the screen now, top right hand corner of the screen now, or left, depending on where he decides to put it. So that kettle lead there plugs into this socket here, which I'm showing you now up there, and the power switch is located next to the socket on this right hand side of the press. Okay, so that's all of that, and then what we've got, And this is your GYO6 digital controller. So this is the controller. This is where you're going to put in your times and temperatures into here. But we'll go through that in a moment. Okay, so that's all set up. There's not really much to do with these once you take them out of the box. They are very plug and play. So again, you'll see in the top left or top right, I'm going to plug in the kettle lead into the press, like so. And then this goes into the wall. I'll just get my lead. Okay, make sure you plug the kettle lead into the press before you plug it into the mains. Just a little bit of a safety note there, it's always a safer way around to do it. Once you've got your kettle lead plugged in, flick the red rocker switch and your screen will come on. Okay, so once you've knocked the press on, you're going to notice this number climbs quite quickly up to around about what your room temperature is, maybe a little bit under, maybe a little bit below. Okay, so that's just the thermocoupler engaging. This here is the current, this number here is the current temperature of your heat platen. So that's the current live temperature of the heat platen. So that's saying about 50 degrees at this moment in time, and if I just gently touch that, I can tell that's getting warm. So your press will start to heat up as soon as you put the power on. This number underneath is what the target temperature is set at. So that's saying 200 degrees in the green. That means that this is going to try and climb all the way up to 200 degrees before beeping to let us know that it's at the right temperature. Then you've got, on this side, you've got your current time. So that's when I close this press and the micro switch engages, you'll see this starts to count down. And the number below is the target time. Okay. You've also got a counter on here. This counter tells you how many cycles the press has done. So because I've been opening and closing this a little bit, it's registering as it's been it's 8 cycles. And on this side is telling you that it's in degrees centigrade. Okay, so to change the settings on here, what you're going to want to do is press the OK button. That is going to tell you that this is currently set to degrees C first. That's that little flashing C in the corner. If I press the up arrow, it's going to take it to degrees Fahrenheit, or degrees F. If I press the down button, it'll drop it back to degrees C. So we're going to want that to stay on Celsius for now. This here is telling us our target temperature is set to 180. Now we can adjust that by pressing these buttons, the up and down arrows. Okay, if we press OK, that's going to lock that temperature in. Now we're onto the time settings. So that's telling us that we are looking for a 30-second cycle time. Now we can adjust that by pressing the up and down arrows again. I'm just going to drop this down to 10 seconds for the purposes of this video. Okay, so you can see now that this number is still climbing because the heat platen is heating up. We've got degrees C selected there, and our target time is now set at 10 seconds. Okay. Now, while that's heating up, I can show you how the auto open function works. So we've got time set to 10 seconds just for this demo. So when I close the press down, it will lock in against the electromagnet. So that's the electromagnet engaged now against that metal plate. When the timer counts down to 0, the press will beep to let you know it's finished. The electromagnet will release and the hydraulic ram will raise the platen back up. You can then obviously pull the drawer out and take out your workpiece. Yeah. Right, so the temperature's still rising on the press. When that reaches the desired temperature, it is going to beep at us. To stop the beeping, because it will just go beep, 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 to stop it doing that, just close the handle far enough to hear the beep, which is the micro switch engaging, and then lift it up again. That'll stop the continuous beep. Basically tells the press that you're aware that it's hot. But that is about it with these presses, guys. So at this point, that's the press set up, ready to go, pressing whatever it is that you're going to be pressing with it. There's not a lot to them. The same process, it's exactly the same process, actually applies to the 40x50 variant of this. Just be aware when you are handling it, they are a little bit heavier, obviously just with the increased platen size. That's it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. We're going to do loads more of these in the workshop. We're going to look at the maintenance stuff. We're going to do a load more unboxings, so you can kind of get a sort of preview of what you're going to get when you order these presses. Alright guys, thanks for watching and have a great evening.